Thank you, everyone. We'll get on to the agenda items. Before we get into them, I'd just like to say that we've had a wee change of procedure. Meridian Energy were going to attend this meeting, but I felt that personally they had quite a lot to pass on to our board members, and we're hopefully going to co-op, well not co-op, but have Cal Reid join our team, and then Brent Cowes would hopefully be at the workshop as well. So that's an April meeting to be decided, the date to be decided, and we'll have our workshop discussing other issues for our next agenda, and it will be a little bit more informal for Meridian to attend and update us with what they do for our communities. So I asked for apologies, and Brent Cowes is one of them. Any further apologies? Declaration of interest?
I believe the mayor is on annual leave.
Yeah, yes. Yeah.
And our CEO, Mr. Palmley, is at another meeting, but hopes to join us later, I believe.
Okay, thank you. So do you want us to put an apology for Gary, or?
No, through you, Madam Chair, though, because they're not members of the board, they do not need to be acknowledged as apologies. You could just refer to them in your welcome introduction speech as per my email.
Yeah.
They can't be recorded because they're not members of the board. So,
No, that's fine, but they certainly play a big part in our day-to-day running of our board. So can I have a mover and accepted for the apologies declaration of interest in public forum, please? A mover?
looks like Steve Daly has put his hand up as a mover. Could you please speak when you do that? Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. And the seconder? Ross? So Ross, are you seconding that? Are you there, Ross?
Yes, I can see him on the video here.
Yeah, is he unmuted? Is he muted himself?
I am here.
Oh, good. Can you hear us okay?
Yes.
Yeah, no, we can now. I can too. I'll move that the apologies be accepted, Vicky.
Yeah, okay. And Ross, you'll second it?
Yes, that's true.
Yep. All in favour, say aye.
Aye.
Against? Passed. Okay, so have you read the confirmation of the previous minutes?
Aye.
I have.
Yep. Any issues out of it?
Yeah, as I discussed earlier, Vicky, perhaps we could, in my report, I'll refer to the cycle trail, the
Right.
other side of Lake Aviemore.
Yeah, that's great.
I'll move that those minutes be accepted as true and correct records.
Thank you, Ross.
You're welcome.
I'll be
Yeah.
saying that then.
Yeah, she's going to be pretty simple. All in favour, say aye.
Aye.
Against? Passed. So the building consents, 5.5, or are we on to that already? Yeah. 5.4.
Through you, Madam Chair, we need to go to agenda item 5.1.
5.1, yeah. I thought it looked a bit strange. Sorry about that. I just trying to move my computer screen, and it's must be the day for technology glitches. Yes, so further to Ross McRoby, he come into our valley with new ideas and new thoughts, and he certainly was a major asset to our community and our board and the council. So do any of the other members want to have pass a comment about Ross's participation on our board?
Yes, Madam Chair. I would like to say that Ross McRoby is not only classed as a friend, but also as a very best of mentors that one could have. When asked for an opinion, he would turn confusion into cold hard facts in just a few words, enabling us to progress forward. He was always clear and direct. We owe him a lot over the past very difficult 2.5 years, and he is already sorely missed. He had a way of being able to view a problem from a much higher level than the average fella. In itself, a great talent. Ross, I will try harder to do that. So a farewell and thank you to the other Ross.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
And Steve, you were a close friend of Ross's. Have you got?
I sorely miss Ross. Yeah, he was probably one of the reasons he motivated me to go further in local body politics, and yeah, and I miss him all the time. And what he did for the valley was gave things from where we were, gave things quite a lift in our representation, and just the general putting us on the map and making things happen.
He did. Thank you for that, guys. It seems a little formal, but can I have a mover and an acceptance for that decision report? Steve and Ross, seconder,
Yeah.
all in favour, say aye.
Aye.
Against. Thank you, guys. It's been a really tough time for us, because even though it's official, we're our positions, it's the people that count, and to lose such a valued member of our board has been very hard. So
can I just make a comment too? Can I sorry butt in, Vicky? That just that Bill had wrote a little addendum coming out later on in the meeting regarding Ross, but I'd just like to say too, I really appreciate him as a friend and a very valued member at council for the whole of the wider district, not just for the Ahuriri, but for the whole Waitaki district. And he was a very wise head, and he'll be sorely missed on many fronts.
yes, will be.
Oh, no.
Thank you, Colin. Thank you. Anyone else got any further to add to that? I certainly wish Patria and the family and the extended family sincere good luck, and I'm sure he'll be inspiration for us all in coming years. So back to 5.2, appointment to the extraordinary vacancy on the Ahuriri Community Board. I tracked down Callum Reid, and some of you may know him, some of you may not. Callum was a member of our Ahuriri board for probably nearly 9 years before he resigned at the last election. And it's been difficult to say the least, because Peter was quite active down on Kurau Dunterin Way. He had his ear to the ground. And when he went on leave, it was hard to keep up with what's going. You know, we have a big area to cover, and we formally we deal with people every day. Boring old stuff, like whether it's potholes or whether it's the creek getting bogged up with rubbish and that sort of thing. And then so those things take time. They don't always come out in the agendas, but. So Cal, for me anyway, and I'm sure the rest of the board will find out, and councillors, that he'll be a refreshing addition to our board. So has anyone got any comments about the suggested replacement of Peter?
No, I'd like to say it's Cal will bring
This on the has anyone any comments about the suggested replacement of Peter?
Oh, sorry.
Check it out.
Sorry, that's my Siri coming in. Sorry about that. I don't know how that happened. Yeah, so what did you say?
No, I think Cal will be excellent, and he's got the experience, and should be welcome to the group.
Yeah. He's very clued up with his own area and the people. He's been here a long time, and he certainly makes things. He's a mover and a shaker would be a good impression of Cal. So so the recommendations, we formally need to resolve publicly and notify and activate the Ahuriri Community Board appointment of Mr. Cal Reid Callum Reid to the extraordinary vacancy created by the resignation of the former board member, Mr. Peter Ellis. So we've got a scheduled timetable for that, and that's going to be a Zoom meeting. I think Ainsley has spoken to Cal about that, haven't you, Ainsley?
Through you, Madam Chair, yes, I have. So the recommendations in the report are what you need to be moving and seconding. I have spoken to Callum. He will be available on the 28th, the time spoken. So you could move it from the chair, Madam Chair, and call for a seconder, and then those recommendations could be put to the meeting.
Okay. So under option 1, to resolve the appointment is recommended as preferred option. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please?
Madam Chair, I'd suggest you move it from the chair, and I'll be happy to second it.
Okay, move it from the chair.
Yes.
All right. Yeah, okay then. Thank you for that. Yeah. And all in favour?
Aye.
Against? Passed. That's great. Certainly a big relief for me to have another member on our board. So
through you, Madam Chair, I would like to register that as a unanimous vote of the board.
Yeah.
Mr. Daly, could you please just note for the record your answer to the vote, because I didn't hear you.
Yes, I fully support that.
Thank you.
Okay. We're on to the community board meetings and workshops. Just to give you an outline with the workshop, we have them every now and again, but it would be great to have them on a regular basis with having a full board and people attending, particularly at our meetings and our workshops. The workshops actually give us an opportunity to set up the agenda, but it's important after a discussion with Ainsley today that if we need an officer to come to our meetings or even put in a report, we need to have this well and truly sorted before our next agenda is due. And to have an officer come to a workshop is also in the same time frame. If they're not available, they can't come. One issue that's come to mind through our Residents Association, and it's something that's been concerning me personally for quite some time, is the issue of dog poo in our communities. And to show you how bad it is, we've had scheduled rugby matches on our beautiful green area that we like to keep in our community. And before we have a rugby match, we get these young volunteers to go around and pick up the dog poo so the rugby players can play on the field. And you know, most people won't notice that, but it's in all our towns. It's on our footpaths and that sort of thing. So one of the items on the workshop, our next workshop, is certainly I'm going to push for dog control policies, and possibly if an officer was available, they may attend. So can you just keep in mind anything, and I'll be following that up by the end of this week so that we can either book officers. Unfortunately, that day of our first workshop is going to be Monday the 11th of April, and as long as COVID doesn't get in the way, I'll be planning to fly back from Ratification that day, so I won't be able to attend. And I suggested that we could make it the Tuesday, which is obviously council meetings, but if we can change it to the Tuesday, that would be great, with some foresight to make sure that we can plan these workshops. And but I also need some feedback from you guys as board members or councillors to discuss other issues. And that's the meeting that we would like to invite Meridian to talk to us about the Power Up system that they have for our community. So have anyone else got any discussions on the workshops?
Yes,
If I may.
Yep. Dean?
I'd like to add some items to that. We're at a stage with the community-led development program that we would like to present to the community board in our May meeting. So we'll need to discuss that at the workshop prior, whatever date that is.
That'll be great.
And yeah, that would be good if we could get that on an agenda type thing for that.
Yep.
And there's also the matter that popped up in the minutes from the previous meeting was the cycle trail.
Right. Yeah, got to keep that going.
Madam Chair, if I may,
And
this particular agenda item is just to formally adopt
yes.
the meeting schedule. As
Yes.
I briefed you on the phone, the workshop schedule is something that you can discuss offline with your board members to find out what they want to discuss and when and how. What you're actually agreeing with this agenda item is the formal ratification of the meeting schedule that was adopted for the Ahuriri Community Board at its meeting on the 21st of December. You are, in doing that, the Chief Executive is allowing officers and support people like me and Stephanie to assist you with one workshop between each meeting. That is all you are signing off on here.
And
so I suggest that you have your workshop discussion offline.
yeah, I understand that, but it's not often I get my board together, and I really want to. I've already sent them a copy of the proposed meetings, and yes, we will pass that. But the workshops are the foundation of their meetings, and I'd like to make sure that we can get that on the go with a full board group between every meeting. But anyway, we'll move on. So Ross, have you got anything to add to that?
No, timetable looks okay with me. I'll approve the timetable.
The timetable for the meetings?
What we're discussing now, the meetings?
Yes, yeah. You will. We're the meetings are the ones that we need to ratify. Is that the right word? Yep.
Yep.
Madam Chair, if you just pass the recommendations in the officer report, then that's dealing with everything. You can come back and revisit the date, the time, the venue, or whether you hold a workshop or not. But it's your meetings we need to formalise now. The workshops we can come back to offline and work out what you want after your board's had a discussion and worked out what their topics of discussion might be for workshops.
Yeah. Okay.
Just a mover and a seconder to the recommendations.
Do I have a mover and a seconder for the recommendations for the Ahuriri board from the meeting schedule for 2022?
Also move.
Yeah, and Steve?
I'll second that. Thank you.
Thank you. And all in favour? Say aye. Aye. Okay. No one against? All right, so we'll get back to that workshop schedule. I really want to make that happen this year, and with a full board, I think we'll be able to, and just maybe our councillors might be able to, even if you both can't attend, maybe one. So I'll keep you in the picture of what we're planning and where we're planning to have that. So yeah, all right. So on to item 6, memorandum reports, building consents. There's certainly a bit of building going on in the area, isn't there?
Yeah, Merrim is a very popular spot.
Yeah. It is. Yeah. Any comment about that?
No, it's good to see. It's throughout our whole ward. So there's activity everywhere.
It is. So do I have a mover and a seconder to adopt the notes and the information supplied on the building consent?
I'll move it.
Yeah, and
I'll second it. Thank you.
Yeah, all in favour, say aye.
Aye.
Against, passed. Thank you, for that report. It's very interesting to see when you're going up and down the valley and see all the progress and new places being built and updates. And particularly it was nice to see Ohel the other day when we went up there. Gosh, it's certainly a different place. And if any of you can get the opportunity to go up there, it's lovely to see. So, okay, the assets. Officers from the Water Services team will be seeking further feedback from the Ahuriri Community Board on alternative locations for the water tank filling station proposed for Memorandum. The preferred site adjacent to the existing campervan dump station is classified as reserve land. The onerous application process would be required to gain permission to install the unit at the site. An alternative site, if there are total options, will enable the unit to be installed sooner. Can anyone help us out with that, or what that's all about?
I came across that today, and it's very difficult for us because we don't know what bit of ground is available or not available or whatever. But I'd be quite happy to work with the water team, to maybe find a spot that is off the space and allowed for that to happen. I understand it's on reserve land or what they're looking at, but not off the top of my head, I can't say unless you put a valve somewhere on a footpath.
Did the councillors?
If I may assist with that, Madam Chair, when you get a comment like that in an officer report, it's sort of signalling that they will come back to you, ask for a workshop or a discussion or something like that, so that they can actually explain to you what it is they require. You don't need to provide an answer today. It's just a bit of a signal that officers will refer to you, have a discussion with you. So that is potentially part of your workshop to discuss in April or whenever they are ready. They're just signalling that they want to come and talk to you about a particular issue.
Okay, so maybe Ross, you could follow that up with Joshua and have we'll put that on the agenda for our next workshop. So it looks like it's pretty well.
Yeah.
I know Mark did go and have a talk to the owner of the Memorandum Hotel about changes to the intersection there. And obviously a big block of land's just come up for sale in Memorandum, and it would be great if that could be purchased. It would solve a lot of problems, but regardless, moving on. So do either Ross or Steve want to discuss anything in that report?
Sorry, our host muted us for a minute there. So, no, obviously some of that needs to be discussed at our workshop, and we can perhaps put that forward and do that then.
That'll be great. Okay. So do I have a mover and a seconder for that?
No, I'm still in full discussion here.
Oh, you are? Well, yeah, I did ask. Yeah, carry on.
Somebody keeps muting me. I don't know why that is. The footpath on the corner, that's come into view again, and that's very good because we're starting to get cyclists again now. Not a big rush at this point, but it's a blooming dangerous corner.
Yeah,
Officer of the Rec team have been consulting with Ohel residents versus the replanting of the village and the road reserves, and that is very good, and they're very happy about that, and I'm very happy that those people up there are happy as well. I've been doing a lot with them. The recreation team has been working with location of the exercise machines, storage shed, and other matters about the main shed, and that was developing into being a big elephant in the room, and that elephant has been moved, so that's really good. And I'd like to personally thank Erica and Sheridan and their team of workers for the great work they did with reference to the amount of water blockage causing flooding within the village.
Yeah.
They were notified that there was a problem, and they arrived the next morning with a team of people and spent 3 days, I think, fixing the problem. So that was really good. That'll do from me.
Okay.
Thank you.
So do we have a mover and a seconder? The
I'll
assets. You move and
I'll
Steve,
be-
you
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh,
all
You
in
can
favour?
move the next one.
don't be greedy now, Ross.
Yeah. All in favour, say aye.
All right.
Against, passed. Thank you, guys. So asset group, it's quite an interesting report, the asset, the Three Waters and what's happening in the area. I will say the Otamatata roads have been a real mess. Been driving around and you see the odd comment on Facebook, and to the point where the pipes have gone under the road, and they've topped it with a little bit of gravel. And I mean, it's almost like driving on a 4-wheel drive track, and they seem to be getting deeper and deeper. And I mentioned to Mike Harrison about it one day when he was up the valley, and asked him to call in and have a look at a couple of really bad ones. And by Monday, they were filled up with gravel. I mean, I assume the tar sealing repairs will be done when the project's finished, and they'll come in and do all the repairs necessary. But it's good to see that when something's brought to light, that it's handled by the officers of the council straight away, even though they're in Oamaru and we're here. So I need to thank them for that. So, all right. So where are we?
Can I just mention something, please, Vicky?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, we're supposed to be excited about Three Waters appointments of staff. I didn't like to see anything happening with Three Waters, but anyway, just want to make my comments in there.
Yeah. I'm afraid I'm a bit the same way, but that's from another angle rather than a board angle. But yeah. The Duntrin toilets, I know they're real keen to get them in place, and it's been such a long process. The land now is owned by the council, and so that was the transfer has been done rather quickly. The toilets are here, but once again, it's from what I can tell, it's equipment issues because Duntrin don't have sewage, and they're going to need tanks. They're going to need a lot more facilities than what other areas in our ward need. So the locals were saying it looks a bit of an eyesore, and it does. It looks an eyesore. But in saying that, if we had someone go in and clean it up, and then within a month it becomes a construction site. So let's hope. I was at the Duntrin meeting the other day, or a Zoom meeting, and they seem to think that it's end of April that they might get this going. So as a board, it would be great to follow up some landscaping with them. And I spoke to Mike Harrison, and he said there may be resources to do some landscaping, and it'll be a great asset to the town and to the people that move up and down that valley to have good toilets. So, all right. So the Ahuriri Community Board Financial Update 6.3. Has everybody read that?
Yes.
Any questions?
I was always been unsure how that works, but I'm not sure that I'm still convinced how it would work. But it looks like there's some funds available there that should be spent around there. Yes.
Yeah, it's just allocating those funds. And in other words, if we want to give give some of it away, which fund does it come out of and what's the procedure. So maybe we could put that on our workshop as well, and see if we can get some sort of report from finance in Wells or Paul Hope to give us a better understanding of what we can and what we can't do, because there's lots of small projects in our 5 towns that I'm sure we can help with, and it is fund set aside for our communities. So so do I have a mover and a seconder of that?
If I may, Madam Chair, you have one of your buddy councillors, Councillor Wallstein's got his hand up, but if I may just talk to that point that you've just said, given the fact that we're in the middle of an annual plan process, our finance team are really busy at the moment. So I have talked to Ian, and we're hoping that we can have something together on the discretionary policy and process, either to the community board May meetings, or it may have to wait till July. We're just really pushed at the moment, and so it may be that we cannot get a process together until then. But if you have projects from your community board plan or anything that you want to do, as a board, you should be discussing that and then emailing me and letting me know, so that I can then facilitate the process, and we'll work out how we need to do it and where it needs to come from. Right.
In other words, we need to make it happen. So, that's great. Who was going to talk to us?
Yeah, it was me, Vicky.
Well,
Ainsley covered it to a degree, but just to see that there is $8,989 in the discretionary fund for projects which the community board can support. But also on page 47, page 46 of the agenda, in the township amenity rates, there are some large balances held there. And so I think it would be a good idea, Vicky, as you said, to perhaps contact, or in time, obtain advice from the officers as to what that money can be used for, because like over Matata, $154,000 in township amenity fund. So you could certainly make it, make something major happen around the village.
Yeah. We, when we've wanted something for the playground, or we've wanted something for the roads, we're always sort of told that comes out of that particular account, and the amenity fund wasn't available. But there must be some way of spending that money.
Well, there's no point in just sitting there, and so obviously in the last year some has been spent. It was $156. It's dropped down to $154 for $1,000 for Otamatata. So there are movements in the account, but it would be nice to clarify what money goes into that account, and what expenditure can come out of that account.
It will, yeah. No, that's
a good workshop topic.
Yeah, money. Yeah. Well, yeah. Thank you, Colin. I appreciate your input. Yeah. So we're on to my report. Small test seems to be about COVID, and I've had.
Madam Chair, if I may just ask you to have a mover and a seconder to
the financial report.
Yes, please.
My apologies.
And I would like to draw your attention to the fact that the Chief Executive has now joined the meeting online.
All right. Welcome, Alec.
Yeah, welcome.
Apologies for
So do I have a mover and a seconder?
I'll move that, Vicky.
You'll move it. And yeah. And Ross, you'll second it?
Yeah.
Yep. All in favour, say aye.
Yes, all right.
Pretty simple. Okay. So to my report, I seem to have, I've got another meeting tomorrow with the Pacifica through Hana. We've been very lucky up here. They sent us masks and safety equipment, and then not long after that we got rat tests, and it's very gratifying to know that all our towns, Duntroon, Kurau, Otamatata, Marama and Ohau, were supplied with supplies, I suppose, when it comes to COVID. We don't have chemists that we can just pop down and get them, and we rely on freighters, and couriers seem to be getting later and later on a regular basis. So I'd like to thank the Oamaru Pacific Island Community Group for all they've done for our community. It was a lovely surprise considering we're not part of that group, and it's, in other words, it's everyone helping everyone else. So yeah, otherwise, can I move that my report be accepted and have a second?
You can do, and I'll second it.
Okay, all in favour say aye.
Aye.
It's passed. So so where are we? Our buddy councillors.
I think my one might be in there, Vicky, I think.
Yeah.
I think I might be the next report.
Okay, you are, Steve.
You're up to
Fine.
agenda item 6.5, Madam Chair.
Yes, yeah, I am there. Yep.
You know, my report's been busy around the community-led development program and the designs that's happening around the park. We want to make it to our May meeting, so we have everything presented for that meeting. So the workshop will be quite a bit to happen at the workshop, so we can take those items through. We've met with Eric and Vicky and Sheridan to explain out where we are with the process, and we're making really good progress. We've got getting 2 prizes for playground equipment. One was already in, second one should be in soon. So we'll have those items that and I've just got a bit more discussion to do with Eric about adding depreciation and whatnot to our presentation for the May meeting. Like Vicky, been good demand for our rat tests that we've distributed in the community. So they're all but gone, but I think Vicky's working on more supplies.
Yeah, I'm working on it. Yeah. Yeah, no, thank you. Thank you to you and your team for the CLDP for Otamatata. It's certainly going to bring us into a new era, and even following up with that, the fence that we're putting up in the playground at the moment, council paid and administered, but you know, I just getting such good feedback about the that small. And it's not small, it's quite a financial commitment, but it's working on with your plan and working together as a group to turn our hydro town into a wee bit more sort of a uplifted area to live and play. So
Recreation village. Thanks. Actually the new fence, I was going to mention that too, and that's looking really great, and it's been good to have cooperation from the board to theme it, the type of fencing with what we intend to use around the other areas. Quite a few spots around the village, so that's good with progress. Anyway, I'll move my my report be accepted.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Vicky.
All in favour? Say
Yeah.
aye. Aye. Ross, did you want to have anything to add to the report?
No, I think I've had my spoke today.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So our councillors, Colin. Bill's put a few words down here.
Oh, look, I've got nothing further to say. That's just some thoughts that ran through my head preparing for the meeting.
Yep.
I mean, council's well and truly underway in lots of areas just now, and what I've put down there today is just kind of part of that, really. And as Alex will explain, every week there's something else comes up. That's life.
It is. Yeah, it is. Yeah. And Colin, have you got anything to add for your experiences in our area?
Well, yes, I have. But yeah, just to follow up on what you said earlier regarding the function up at the OHAL, regarding the OHAL presentation of a certificate to the folks at OHAL. That was a very, very pleasant day at OHAL. It was a beautiful day weather-wise. And I think the residents who were there were very appreciative of the presentation from FENS for the good work the residents had carried out. And I think also very appreciative of the fact that yourself and Bill and myself made the effort to attend, the presentation. So it was very nice, just a very nice, pleasant afternoon. It was time well spent. But otherwise, I've got nothing more to add to Bill's report.
after all the anguish and the sadness up there, it certainly was a nice experience, and
It was indeed.
And yeah, they're very resourceful, that community, and all our communities are very different, but they went through horrendous moments with that fire, and you know, I can only say how wonderful that community is, working together and getting back living. And
just to finalise and finish, Vicky, I just think the goodwill, the people up there were very generous and a very good spirit in relation to the community board and council. So there appeared to be no anguish, you know, as to how they've been treated from council, which was
that's a nice feeling.
It was good to see.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So
I'll just add a wee one there, Madam Chair, if I may.
sure.
I've been doing a lot of work up there, Colin. That's why they're so nice. I was horrified though when I found out that presentation wasn't there and I hadn't been notified. So please, communication, people.
Yeah, we did get a late invitation, so and I must admit that I squeezed it in with what I was doing that day. So, but no, that's all taken on board. So, Roger and Alec, would you like to add anything to our meeting?
Yeah, I'm happy to give a little update if it'd be helpful. So Bill alluded to in his reports the economic development review that's ongoing and the strategy we're developing at the moment. And I'm pleased to say the consultants who we've employed enjoyed their trip up the Waitaki Valley and engaging with businesses there, finding out what the local business community saw as being the opportunities for the future. And so what we've really aimed for with this is that in developing this new strategy and plan for the way forward, that it's not the council strategy, but that we have the business community behind it, that they recognise it, so that we can all engage together in implementing what comes out of it. And I'm very excited about what may come out of it. Certainly they've been impressed with the ideas and the drive that there is within our local businesses. And so, you know, that's cause for optimism in terms of that piece of work. We're also, as well as our planned work, we're involved in a lot of work around the various reforms that are going on, and not a day seems to go by without a new reform being put on the table by government that's going to impact local government. Lots of people are aware of the Three Waters reform, and we're now in the process of preparing for the transition of Three Waters. It's unfortunate that the community didn't get their chance to have their say on that, but the government's now very much engaging with us in terms of how those Three Waters transition. But as part of our annual planning process that we're in the middle of at the moment and about to consult on, Council have agreed to put forward in that a plan to accelerate the investment in our water infrastructure, so that if Three Waters does go ahead and it does, you know, transfer, that our communities are in the best position possible, and that our water infrastructure is in good shape. This is all work that we did have in the long-term plan, so it's not new work, but what the proposal is to accelerate that work, so there's not a risk of it being delayed or even overlooked by the new water entity should the assets and services transfer as proposed by the government at the moment. We've got a lot of other work going on around reform, so there's the RMA reform as well, which will have a big impact on land use planning and the long-term future of our communities and our economy as well. And I know a lot of landowners across the whole district are taking a lot of interest in that and what that means, moving to much more of a regional approach to spatial planning. And we've been doing a lot of work in terms of making representations to ensure that local voice is heard within that. And you know, we think it's important that this planning system doesn't become divorced from local communities, that it's there to serve, and that people know how to help, you know, get involved and shape the local plans so that they can continue to have a say in the future of their communities, their economies, their part of our district. Lots of other reforms going on as well. I mentioned about the annual plan and budget process, so there's some knotty issues for us to get to grips with in there, and we'll be consulting on that shortly. And then it's been mentioned already about COVID. It is impacting us as an organisation. Fortunately, it isn't impacting our services too greatly at the moment, but we don't think we're at the peak of that. But whilst also managing that and making sure that we don't, we can avoid service reductions if possible as our staff are impacted. We're also working, so supporting the excellent work of Hannah and the community organisations out there to really ensure that people impacted by this and having to isolate or becoming ill from COVID are getting the support that they need. And it's really great to see the community coming together on this to make sure everyone is supported. And I'm pleased to say, Council's doing its part to help support that effort as well.
Thank you so much, Alec. It's great to hear from you. And Roger, did you have anything to add to the meeting?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Just a couple of updates on some things that are still going on or virtually done in OHA now. We've recently completed the last bit of the contaminated soil remediation from the last few sites. So that took a lot of coordinating because it really needed to be done in, under certain weather conditions because the test equipment only works at certain moisture levels. So pleased to see that has now been completed. When you were up there the other day, you might have seen the new 4G telecommunications tower being installed. So that's going to give them absolute top-notch connectivity up there, which will be a really good thing for them. To the wider district matters, we have a 2-hour workshop on the spatial plan to review the feedback that we received. We received over 500 pieces of feedback on that, which is an excellent result. And councillors will be considering that on the 5th of April. And that will feed into the district plan review. And we're still on track for publishing the draft for feedback in May. So that will be a fantastic milestone for the team that have been working on that, and also for council to get that district plan updated and out for feedback. So there are a couple of the highlights. Some more sort of slightly minor matters. We've got the TAB and gambling bylaw out for consultation at the moment. That's now closed, so we hear the submissions on that. And finally, the latest addition to the team, the new senior building control officer, started at the end of February. So that improves our resource and capability to certainly cover some of the more remote parts of the district.
Thank you. Thank you. So appreciate your reports. Can I have a mover and a seconder for the councillors' reports? Alex and Roger's report to be accepted.
I'll move that, Vicky.
Okay. And seconder, Ross?
Yep.
Right. So before we close, getting back to that, what we discussed in the meeting schedule, it's really important that as a board and even communication with the council that we plan these workshops. Probably it takes more planning the workshops than it does the agenda because it just flows on from the workshop. So we really need to chat in the next few days and have some good bullet points to put towards our meeting and confirm that date. Otherwise, thank you for your attendance to everyone. It's been great. I'm feeling a little vulnerable after losing Ross and Peter, and our members just seem to be dropping off, and not meaning that in a bad way, but it puts a lot of pressure on who's running the community board, and I appreciate the help I get from Ross and Steve and Brent. So yeah, will be, and certainly it's great to have Colin Colin and Bill on board. It certainly gives us a new insight. So they might be dragged up the valley on a more of a regular basis this year. So yeah, so I officially close the meeting at 4:10. Thank you for your attendance.